Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with you along with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, your regular broadcast crew for the last 13 years here at Wekiva High School, and now getting ready to start season 14, and this is going to be an unprecedented season. We hear that word a lot these days. It has been a very fluid situation. We are now finally in a position. Golf actually is playing some matches this week, and then we'll be getting the rest of our sports for the fall season underway next week as we get ready to go here with a lot of adaptations to our regular programming. We know that it's going to look very different this season, particularly in the way that fans are able to join us and in the way that they are able to experience our live athletic events. We always, when we come to you on our broadcast, say, hey, we're glad that you joined us live, but we'd always rather have you in person. This is one of those years where that may not be the case. We are, of course, delighted that we will be able to host some of our parents and family members under those capacity constraints in person, but we know that many of you will not be able to be admitted that way, or even if you are able to be admitted, you may not, based on your personal circumstances, be comfortable coming out in public in a venue like that, and we certainly understand and respect that. And we're going to do everything we can to make Wekiva sports accessible to all of our fans. So before I bring in Neil, who's going to take us through a little bit of where we've come from in our last 13 years and where we're headed this year, I want to introduce our broadcast production teacher, Keith Dickerson. He and his students have been instrumental over the past few years, helping us to ramp up to a really professional live streaming and broadcasting operation. And so I want you to hear from him what we've been doing and what we're going to be doing over this season.
Hey, good evening. I'm Keith Dickerson, the digital video technology teacher for Wekiva High School and Orange Technical College. The last several years, I've had the great pleasure of working alongside Mr. Mark Barchi and Mr. Neil Fisher. You might recognize these guys as the voices of Wekiva, as they're usually the announcers and color commentary for a lot of our school events and athletics. See, the last few years, my students and I have had the great pleasure of learning how to do live broadcasting alongside Mr. Barchi's leadership. A few years ago, he wanted to start an initiative to bring the community more together because, unfortunately, a lot of family, friends, and community members just can't make it to all of our school concerts or athletic events. That all changed with our YouTube channels. See, for example, we have a YouTube channel, Wekiva Sports. And on that channel, you can actually tune in and watch any of our athletics that we're live broadcasting as a class together online at home, whether it's on your TV, your phone, your tablet, or gaming console even. If you can't make it to the live stream even, that's okay. For a lot of families and friends, they can actually go back and watch some of their students' best games and athletic moments anytime because everything on YouTube is archived after the initial broadcast. It's been a great pleasure working alongside them because my students have been learning skills that they typically wouldn't learn in a normal classroom environment. We typically just do the morning announcements and short films and stuff. But thanks to Mr. Barchi's leadership and Mr. Fisher giving some intel, students have been able to learn a lot of journalism and broadcasting skills. Obviously, communication being a big one, as they have to manage several multi-camera outputs, the switchers, the graphics, and all that fancy stuff that's going on behind the scenes. I'm hoping in the years to come, this initiative continues to grow more than it already has. We're one of the only schools in the county that does this. We might be the only one, I'm just not sure. We tend to be the most popular one with it, at least. Now, I know right now with the current coronavirus situation, things aren't as normal as they should be. And a lot of family and friends and community members are not going to be able to come out and spectate and support our students and all of their initiatives as they usually would. However, we're going to do the best that we can as a staff, administration, and a student body for the kids that are here face-to-face to bring you as much coverage as we can from our YouTube and our social media pages. My students and I are planning to work alongside Mr. Fisher and Mr. Barchi once again and live stream all of these events, despite all the circumstances, of course. That way you can still wish all of our athletes and artists and everybody else the best in all their achievements. It's been a pleasure working alongside Mr. Barchi, Mr. Fisher, and all the supporting coaches, staff, and administration the last several years, and I hope we continue to do an even better job in the years to come. Hope to see you guys soon. Appreciate it.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Dickerson, for that introduction, and I'm glad that you were able to join us tonight. And as our viewers can tell, it has been a journey, and Wekiva is uniquely positioned this year as live streaming becomes more important and integral to our fan experience than ever. Um, we are uniquely positioned to execute that because we are experienced. We have been doing this ever since we've been allowed to. So for a while, you may know that Spectrum had an exclusivity contract with Orange County, and so our ability to live stream was very limited until about 3 years ago. And then starting 3 years ago, we gradually have been ramping up our broadcast capabilities from the very rudimentary when we were doing single camera with no graphics and just Neil and I talking. And then over the last couple of seasons, we've added some more polished graphics. We've integrated the scoreboard so you can see live what's going on. We've added live stats. We've done some of our broadcasts where we've had a full crew available. We've done multi-camera so you can get different angles and catch some of what's going on outside the immediate play. And Neil, certainly we've seen a lot of evolution since you and I started 14 years ago covering Wekiva games.
Yeah, Mark, and again, I'd just like to thank Keith and the students who work with him. Before I get started here, of course, it's obviously very important. Doesn't matter what we're saying if the fans can't see what we're talking about. But I think you put it best, really, the word evolution. And I know it might not be something that the Wekiva High School community or the fan base really thinks about, but we've pretty much had that same parallel evolution as the school itself, and especially in terms of the school evolve and identity about the school evolving. As you mentioned, it wasn't until about 6 years ago we started doing the internet broadcast, but we could go even further back. The school opened in 2007. This will be its 14th year. And of course, Mark and I met. For those of you who don't know, Mark is the public address announcer. He's also our sports information director. And, again, if you see Mark, give him a thank you because he does do it on a voluntary basis. And he does a very good job. He's very creative, very innovative. And I think that's really where our evolution starts, with Mark bringing that level of creativity and innovation to the table when the school first opened. Mark and I, of course, as I mentioned, met a few weeks before the school opened for the first time, and we got to know each other during that first season, working together. As Mark said, I worked for the Apopka Chief. I was hired a few months before the school opened, specifically to cover Wekiva High School. I do cover some other subjects and some other events, but that was at the top of the list, was to cover Wekiva. And in particular, to cover the sports, and a lot of the stuff that went on for the first or 6 years. I now just mainly cover sports, but him coming from his background of working more on the broadcast side, me working on the print, we sat down and we were able to come up with a plan, an idea, which, again, not every target has been hit in terms of the date, but we have hit every target in terms of evolving. Of course, Mark, you remember those first couple years, we didn't even have a press box. So I would say that was a big step in the evolution, because you can't really do a broadcast out at the football field if you don't have a broadcast, if you don't have that press box to set up your equipment.
Yeah, I remember those days well, Neil. Those were, yeah, when we would bring out the golf umbrellas and prop them up against the back gate and try to stay dry, and I would bring one of those portable podiums out with me, and I would shout into the microphone and try not to swear at it when it didn't work with the wireless, and yeah, it was a growing experience, but we've certainly come a long way. And I want to give you a chance later on to talk about kind of our vision for the future and where it's going to go from here. But first, I know a lot of our viewers who are tuning in are looking to see, okay, so how is this going to work for me this year? Some of you may have a lot of experience having already watched Wekiva live streams in past years. For some of you, you maybe have always attended in person and have never tuned into the live stream, or maybe you're new to Wekiva this year. So we want to make sure you have all that information, and how we actually have some enhancements this year that are going to make it even better. So let me put that information up now. So first, let me start with attending in person. So there will be a limited number of our fans who are able to attend in person. And in those cases, participating teams will be permitted 2 tickets per athlete for guest attendance, which should limit our facilities to about 25% of their normal capacity. Faculty from the hosting school may also attend without guests, and these attendees won't count against the ticket limit, and they are factored in to that 25%. Admission will be free for all regular season fall sporting events for those who do attend, and band, sideline cheerleading, dance, and JROTC will not participate in fall sports until further notice. Now, that being said, we are working with the sponsors of each of those programs to find ways to bring them to you through the live streams, and for those who are attending in person, to play audio recordings that they've submitted that we virtually edited together. If you attend an event in the gym, we of course have the video score table now, which was acquired last year, so we can put some recordings on the video score table. So we are going to try to get them involved through pre-recorded information. The band, I know, is recording the fight song this week, so we'll be able to play it after touchdowns. And all those great things. So, and we do hope that those activities will be able to join us in person as soon as possible. Concessions, when available, will be limited to bottled drinks, and I think everyone understands why in that case. But again, we know that a lot of you won't be able to attend in person, and so we have 2 ways for you to watch, as we have for the past few years. One is YouTube live stream, which is what you're watching now. So congratulations, you've already found us. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave, and by hitting that subscribe button, you'll be notified on YouTube whenever we go live. And of course, the more subscribers we have, the more it improves our reach. So make sure that you do subscribe to our channel. You're already here. You're one step away, so why not do that now? We also partner with the NFHS network. If you're not familiar with them, NFHS stands for National Federation of High Schools. That is the organization to which the FHSAA belongs, the Florida High School Athletic Association. So Wekiva is a member of the FHSAA. FHSAA in turn is a member of NFHS, and the NFHS has contracted with a company that used to be called Play On Sports that makes this service available, and that's the NFHS network. So that is a nationally recognized platform on which we stream our games as well. So both of those are available to you. And we also have, let me talk about YouTube specifically first, because I think that's how many of you will find it most convenient to join our games. We are easy to remember. Our channel name is Wekiva Sports. That's youtube.com/c/Wekiva Sports, or just search for Wekiva Sports. And you can do that from the YouTube app. The nice thing about YouTube is that it is very widely available. Clearly, you're already watching us on YouTube now, so you have already figured out how to get there. But if you're explaining it to your friends and family, you can get to it on any Apple or Android mobile device. It's often preloaded as an app on the phone. If it isn't, it's very easy to get from your App Store or the Google Play Store. It's also available as an app on a lot of gaming consoles, including the Xbox 360, Xbox One, Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. All of those have the YouTube app built into them if you want to watch on the big screen. Most smart TVs that have been released in the last, 6 or 8 years have a YouTube app that is preloaded on them, so you can pull that up with your TV remote and you can watch on the big screen. And also Apple TV, Fire TV, Chromecast, Roku, TiVo, all of those streaming devices have the YouTube app available for them, so you can pull it up on your phone and then just hit that little button to cast it using either AirPlay if you're using Apple, or Chromecast if you're using Chrome, or if you're using Google. You can cast that to your television very easily, and you can watch on the big screen. It's available for all regular season home football games and many home games of other sports that occur on campus. In order to broadcast on YouTube, we do need a full broadcast crew available, as you saw from Mr. Dickerson's remarks earlier. We almost always have that available. Sometimes we don't when we have conflicts and, for example, soccer and basketball play at the same time. But we've got a great solution for that I'm going to share with you shortly that will be new this year. YouTube, the other great thing about YouTube is that it is free if you're just using the regular ad-supported version. And I want to preface this before we talk about subscription prices or money or anything else. We are not in this to make money this year. We recognize that this is a really unique time, and our families are coming from a wide variety of financial circumstances. And if you are able to support us through subscriptions to YouTube or the NFHS network, awesome. If not, we are not at all going to pressure you to do that. As you saw, admission is free even for those who come in person. This is really about providing accessibility. It is not about making money. That being said, we are going to let you know how we do generate some revenue off of these live streams, so that if you are in a position to support us, or even if you're not and you're just clicking those ads or using the premium minutes that you've already bought with YouTube, that you know that it is supporting Wekiva. But we're not going to try to encourage you to spend money on this, although we appreciate it if you are able to. So YouTube is, of course, a free service, although you will see ads. I will promise you that while we do run ads before and after the games, full screen, and we also run ads to the side if you're watching on a desktop, or at the bottom going across the bottom, I will promise you that we will never place a mid-roll ad on YouTube during the action. We will place those during breaks, during halftime, when nothing is really going on. Then we will place those mid-roll ads, but we will never place a mid-roll ad that's going to cause you to miss live action. So don't worry about that. On the other hand, if you are already a subscriber to YouTube Premium, or maybe you're interested in it, it's $11.99 a month. That gets you ad-free access to the entirety of YouTube, not just Wekiva Sports, and it also gets you ad-free access to YouTube Music, which used to be called Google Play Music. So that can be a great value to you. And if you are a YouTube Premium subscriber, then when you watch our videos, a portion of your premium subscription that's proportionate to how much time you spend watching our videos, that comes to us. So you are supporting us when you do that as well. But if you just want to watch for free, no hard feelings. So now let me talk about the NFHS network. That's the other way you can get to our games, and actually how you can get to even more of our games. You just go to nfhsnetwork.com and search for Wekiva. There is also an app that is available for Apple and Android devices. Unfortunately, the NFHS Network app is not yet available in quite as many places as the YouTube app is, but it is available in a lot. You can use Apple TV, so if you want to use AirPlay. You can also use Fire TV or Roku if you want to stream or connect it to a bigger screen. It is available for all events that occur in the stadium or gym, including sub-varsity games, both regular season and postseason. And I'll explain how we're able to do that in just a minute. The NFHS network, unfortunately, does not have a free option. We don't get a choice here. We don't have the ability to offer that for free because they have to pay for their equipment and their services somehow. So the NFHS network is $10.99 a month, or $69.99 a year. So that gives you a pretty significant discount and allows you to keep your access through the summer if you want to go back and watch on-demand replays. NFHS Network is always ad-free, so you don't ever have to worry about that. And if you are able to spring for that $70 annual option, you should be aware that we get a pretty significant portion of that comes back to Wekiva as a commission to us, whereas the monthly subscription does not. But again, we're not going to pressure anybody to purchase that. We just want you to be aware. You can do monthly and just pay the NFHS network, or you can do annual, get the discount if you put the money up front, and then a significant cut of that comes back to Wekiva. So, how are we able to do more broadcasts this year than we have in the past? We've always occasionally run into those situations where we don't have a crew available, or soccer and basketball are playing at the same time, or lacrosse and boys volleyball are playing at the same time. And as a result of that, or maybe we just don't have a crew. And as a result of that, we end up missing games. We cover as many of them as we can, but we've never been able to get 100% of them online. Well, that is all going to change this year thanks to this new tech called PIXELLOT. PIXELLOT. It's a permanently mounted camera that allows us to live stream without a crew. We've got one that was just installed last week in the stadium. That'll cover football, soccer, lacrosse, and flag football. And we have another that was installed in the gym, which will cover volleyball, basketball, and wrestling. So that's really exciting. We simply program it when games start and end, and it turns itself on, starts streaming, and tracks the action. This will enable us to broadcast more games, especially when we have concurrent simultaneous games or when we don't have a full crew available. And if we're able to, there's actually an option where we can connect broadcast audio so that Neil or I or whomever else is helping us out can announce those games. If we don't, though, you'll just hear the ambient sound from the camera, and that's fine. And we also have the ability to connect the scoreboard data to that PIXELLOT stream. So it won't be quite as slick and polished as our fully produced events are that we do on YouTube and NFHS Network when we have the full crew, but this is a great option that really will cover us so we can get to 100% of all of our home games, at least for sports that occur in those two venues. And obviously for baseball and softball, we'll continue to try to do as many of those with manually as we can. So why would we choose PIXELLOT versus the manual stream? So PIXELLOT streams, the only catch there is they are only available on the NFHS network. We cannot simulcast those to YouTube. Manual streams are preferable when we can do them because they benefit from human-operated cameras. They benefit from Mr. Dickerson and his students. We can do those custom graphics, the more robust scoreboard integration, and the live play-by-play commentary. Whenever we have a full crew available, we will simulcast the same manual stream to both YouTube and the NFHS network. There is a catch when it comes to media rights, and that is that postseason games can only be broadcast on the NFHS network, regardless of whether we do manual streaming or whether we do PIXELLOT streaming because of media rights. With regular season games, Wekiva owns the rights to those games, and we can do with them as we please. With postseason games, the FHSAA owns those rights, and if we want to broadcast anywhere other than their official partner, which is the NFHS network, then we would have to pay for those rights just as if we were a TV station that wanted to put it on local broadcast television or cable television. We would have to pay the same price, and unfortunately we just don't have that in the budget to do. So that's why postseason games are only broadcast on the NFHS network when we get that far. What about away games? We've talked a lot about the games that are going to happen on campus, but we know we play about half of our games away every season. So what can we do about that? So we are reaching out to the host schools for our away games to find out if and how they are planning to live stream the game. And we will post that information on WekivaMustangs.com. You'll see a little video camera symbol next to games on the schedule where we have secured that information and we know about at least one form of live streaming. You will see that little camera icon. You click on it and it'll show you all of the options. We do know that those PIXELLOT cameras that we got at Wekiva, every Orange County public school is getting those. We don't yet know how all of the other schools in Orange County will be using them, and they'll be taking advantage of them. We certainly hope that they will be using them to the fullest extent possible. I also don't know for certain yet when those are coming online. Like I said, ours were installed last week. They're not online yet. I think there are a few more steps that they have to do behind the scenes to get them working, but they should be online really soon. I'm not sure what the installation schedule is for the rest of Orange County, but just know that over the course of the next month or so that all of the schools in Orange County are getting these brought online, and so we do hope that even many of our away games, certainly the ones that are in Orange County, will have. I saw when we scheduled the game against Lakeland for football, they've already put on the NFHS network. They're already a participant in that, and so I was able to get that information right away off of their website, and I have linked it to our website on WekivaMustangs.com. We'll keep doing that. For away football games, we will go live pregame, halftime, and postgame with updates from the sideline. Neil and I have been doing that for the last couple of seasons. We're going to keep doing that this year. We'll bring our gear with us. I have a little mobile setup with a little studio light and a cell phone holder and a headset connection, and so we can go live right from the sideline. So that won't necessarily be full play-by-play live coverage, but we'll be going live at those game breaks, and we will also continue to do what we've been doing with the live stats and the live scores and the updates on Twitter as well. But we tend to rotate, so stay on your toes. Make sure you're following us on both YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, all three of those, because we rotate around to spread the love when we do our live cut-ins from the sideline, and you'll be able to catch those from us there. More ways to keep up. So let's suppose you're in a situation where you can't watch a live stream and you just want to be able to follow along with what's going on with the game. So you can try these options. We have WekivaMustangs.com/scoreboard, which we also put an icon next to the game on the schedule when that is active. It shows a live feed of whatever is on an active scoreboard on campus, whether it's baseball, basketball, flag football, regular tackle football, lacrosse, soccer, softball, volleyball, wrestling, any sport that's on campus. If we have a live scoreboard that's turned on at the moment, then that will feed its information to WekivaMustangs.com/scoreboard. WekivaMustangs.com, if you click on the little bar chart symbol, anywhere you see it next to a game on the schedule, that will show you live play-by-play stats. We currently support this for football at home and away games. We also support it for basketball home games, baseball home games, and softball home games. We are looking to expand that, maybe get the away games for those other sports as well, and possibly some other sports. I know the iScore, which is the product we use, makes a product for soccer and lacrosse. I just need someone to teach me how those statistics work, and we may be able to add those as well. And then, of course, we always post our score updates on the @Wekiva Sports channel on both Twitter and Facebook. So please make sure that you are following us there as well, so that you can get all of that great information, not just when the game is live, but throughout the rest of the time too. We posted some cool information today. Naheem from the basketball and volleyball team got a great award from the College Board. So we post a lot of information about our athletes and alumni there, and we hope that you'll tune in to get that. So let me bring Neil back in. That kind of brings everybody up to speed on how to get to our games. So again, if you want everything, if you want all of the games that we have to offer, whether we have the full broadcast crew or not, even if you want to watch two of them at the same time, you want to watch basketball on one screen and soccer on the other screen, then you want to really think about that NFHS network subscription. And if I could make it any cheaper, I would, but that is what we have. So the NFHS network subscription will give you the absolute most complete access to all of the games, including the ones that we don't have full coverage. But we're going to put as much of it as we possibly can on YouTube as well. Anytime we have that ability to use our traditional streaming that we've been doing for the past few years, we're going to simulcast that. So you're never going to miss something on the NFHS network. At a minimum, it's going to be simulcast there. But we're going to put as much on YouTube as we can so that we have an option for those of you who need the ability to get those without paying for an online subscription service. We've really found that YouTube is the system that gives us the highest reach and the broadest reach, and is the easiest to use, that most of our fans are already familiar with and have the app at their fingertips. And we found that that's just been the best platform for us. We don't make as much money off of it, to be completely honest. The ad revenue that we get from YouTube is relatively small compared to the subscription cuts that we get from NFHS Network. But again, that's not what it's about. This is all about accessibility, especially this year of all years. And we'll worry about the finances later. So Neil, I hope that some of this information might have been new to you as well, because some of this is really late breaking, that we just got some of this equipment put in and it's still getting activated, but some really exciting stuff coming this year.
Yeah, Mark, and I talked about this in our previous broadcast. Yes, the pandemic has been a negative in many, many ways, but I would say that if there ever was a time that pandemic was going to happen, this is probably the best possible time, given technology and specifically digital technology, which, obviously you have just spent the past several minutes talking about live streaming. And live streaming is a product of digital technology. So at least in that aspect, I think, for lack of a better way of putting it, the proverbial blessing in disguise. Obviously, things are going to be different. We've talked about that. That's the dead horse that's been beaten, not only for us, but everything from the pros, the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, which is going to be starting actually tomorrow night, all the way down to even youth level, the changes at the stadium. But we are in an age where digital technology allows for fans to keep up with the sports, even though they're not there. You can still, as you mentioned, follow the game at the same time that the game's actually happening.
Yeah, Neil, absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. We hope this has been informative for you tonight. We hope that you are now confident that you are going to be able to find us wherever we are. Just know that we are going to continuously update WekivaMustangs.com. Like if you look right now, you're going to see that all the football games have their live stream information fully blown out. The volleyball games have the NFHS network links up, but I haven't created the YouTube live ones yet, but we are going to create those. I just got confirmation from Mr. Dickerson today that we're going to be able to, at least for those first couple of weeks, until we're sure that we have the NFHS network equipment working, that we're going to be able to get a live camera crew there safely, of course, so that we'll be able to broadcast those on YouTube as well. So if you don't see it, hang on, we're probably going to post it. Ask us if you're not sure. Just tweet at us at Wekiva Sports on Twitter, or send us a message to Wekiva Mustang Athletics on Facebook, and we'll let you know if we're looking for a live stream and you can't find it. We'll let you know if we have one or if we're waiting to hear from somebody, particularly with those away games. I have not sent email blasts to the other athletic directors and coaches yet to try to collect their live stream information, just because we're only barely just figuring it out ourselves with these new PIXELLOT cameras. And I think a lot of other schools are maybe not in the position that we're in at Wekiva, where they've been doing broadcasting for several years now. And it's just like putting on an old comfortable shoe. So they're getting the hang of this, so I don't want to bug them for their live stream information when they probably haven't set it up yet. But just know that as the seasons get going, I am going to be soliciting that information from the coaches and athletic directors of the away schools that we're playing, and I will also search for it and try to find it for you. If you can on the NFHS network, you can favorite Wekiva so that it will take you and show you on a board all of the upcoming streams and all the past on-demand streams, just like you can on YouTube with the subscription there. So we want to make sure you can find these streams very easily, and we'll post links to them on Twitter when it gets to the day of the event as well. So I want to thank Neil for joining me tonight, as he has so faithfully joined me for the last 13, now going on 14 seasons here at Wekiva. This is going to be an interesting one. Please stay safe. Please know that this whole system that we have, with our ability to play at all and our ability to have these games, it all hinges on everyone in our community doing their part, because we all know that it only takes one poor decision to start to unravel the whole thing, and then we can be staring at cancellations again. So we are hopeful and optimistic that all the plans we have laid out for the fall season are going to stay just the way they are, and that winter and spring are going to get underway on time, that we'll be able to maybe relax some of these restrictions as the year goes on and the data that we're getting continues to improve. But again, we encourage everyone in the Wekiva community to please make sure that you are doing your part, wearing those masks and keeping those distances, and the hand washing and everything that the CDC and Orange County are recommending, to make sure that this continues to go well and continues to improve and continues to get us closer and closer to normal. And then, like I said, we're going to keep live streaming, pandemic or not. We were live streaming before the pandemic. We're going to keep live streaming after the pandemic, but we know that this year it's going to be more critical than ever before. So thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you learned something. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel before you leave. Also give us a follow on Facebook and Twitter. Don't be shy about liking and sharing our posts there. The more they get shared, the more they show up on other people's feeds, and the bigger reach we we get. We appreciate that as well. And we're going to see you Monday evening. Monday the 14th will be our first home game. It'll be volleyball, and we'll be there. We'll be covering it. And then, of course, Thursday night is going to be our season opener for football. We'll be there and ready to go. If you look on YouTube, it's going to say that it's a 6:45 start time. That's just to give us time to get set up, do a little pregame, introduce the game. But the actual kickoff is, of course, at 7. So we'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.